What's up, guys? Welcome to the first ever episode 130 of the Kind of Funny Gamescast. As always, I'm Tim Gettys, joined by one of the coolest dudes in video games, Greg Miller.
Hi.
And joining us once again for her supreme reign as the #1 guest on Kind of Funny Gamescast, Andrea Renee.
Yay!
Yay!
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, you haven't been on Kind of Funny content for a while, have you?
You know, it's been like an hour.
Approximately an hour. Yeah. Well, it's great to have you back. Very excited for this show.
You see
We're
our
going to be
Kinda
talking about
Funny
a lot
games
of games
daily.
we play. Games daily. Every Tuesday
weekday,
and
every
Thursday
weekday.
normally.
Usually,
is
but
your day?
we also made a huge mistake because we brought on a couple contractors. Obviously, and I'm not gonna name names, but like the other one is just a huge waste of time and space.
Yeah.
He's just never here.
Yeah.
And he's always got this weird accent. He's always got excuses.
He does always have a weird accent.
And here's
That
the
is-
thing, here's the problem I have
the
with
truth.
this unnamed Irishman is the fact that, okay, cool, you're going to a preview event, you're going to go see the next greatest game. He's like, no, I'm going to go see a game that's like 3 years old. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Whatever. Say hi to him, Mr. Manny O. Myers, out there doing some stuff. Who the hell knows what he's up to?
Exactly.
Hey, shout out to Tom Bach, the Patreon producer, once again, aka the homie.
He is
Big
the
fan
homie.
of him.
Thank you.
Doing some cool
See the
stuff.
audience.
Cool Greg's a big Tom Bach fan. Yeah. No.
You know, Tom Bach is a What's Good Games patron as well. So
Hell yeah.
thank you so much, Tom.
Tom
You're the
Bach
best.
is a huge supporter. He makes things happen, and I really, really, really appreciate that. You can also support us by going to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, which will get you this show early. If you want to get it late, you can go to youtube.com/kindoffunnygames and watch it there every Monday when it posts in one giant video, one MP3. You can also get the MP3 on iTunes or any of your favorite podcast services. We would really appreciate it if you reviewed and rated them for us. That helps us in the ranking and all that stuff, and it really does go a long way. We appreciate that. Let's get right to the video games, though. Greg, what you been playing?
A whole bunch of stuff, Tim. You know what I mean? I beat Patapon since the last Gamescast. I platinum Patapon since
Hell
last
yeah,
Gamescast.
you did. Congrats, Greg.
Thank you. Thank you, studio audience. Thank you.
He points at
Thank you
Andy,
so much,
and
Andy.
Andy just...
Andy's sour grapes right now because I've been saying some true things about here, like how Whataburger's not great and Taco Deli is not bad. Oh, okay. All right. I see
my
how it is. It's
words.
fine. Go play some Gundams. All right, little kid? Platinum Patapon. Great experience, except for the last trophy, which was just based around a mini game that it took me 2 or 3 days to wrap my head around. And I was very bad at it. But when I finally got it, I got it, and it's done. I don't have to worry about it. Platinumed it. Great stuff there. Started Night in the Woods last night. I like where it's going. This is a personal problem of mine. It's been a very long week of work, so I was very tired. So when I settled in to play it, I did probably 30, 45 minutes of it, and it's all text-based. There's no words or anything like that. There's no VO for it, right? Funny writing. I like the premise. Move back to town. I missed this when it came out in February. Came back to town. You've come back to town. You've dropped out of school. You meet up with your old friends. Start going through all these different things. Find an arm on the street. What's that all about? But the problem was, just a hard game when I'm exhausted, can't keep my eyes open, so I had to stop and watch TV. Played another game, can't tell you about, but if you look at my trophies, well, I don't know if they're up yet, but there's a game I'm playing that's embargoed that I can't tell you about. And then the big one, though, played and beat Tacoma. Haven't talked at all about that since it happened. Yeah, out this week, of course. Well, last week if you're watching this late on YouTube, but some of you watching right now as we record it live. Thanks for your $1.
Have you played Tacoma?
I downloaded it, haven't played. I played it at a preview event earlier this year at GDC, so I've played a little bit of it.
Do you want to get into that now? The review
I'll do whatever you
of
want.
Tacoma?
Oh, you want to review Tacoma right now?
Let's review Tacoma, Greg.
Tacoma, the latest installment from Fulbright, the folks behind Gone Home, a game I talk about all the time and don't shut up about and love very much, and I think definitely help launch and put the walking simulator on the map, which is people want to use negatively. I don't. I think it's a fine way to tell me a story and make me play a game.
But did they put Walking Simulator on the map?
I think so. In terms of like, hey, here's a crazy ass story. Like, don't get me wrong, like. Well, I mean, what do you want to say? Myst? Like, you know what I mean? There's other games we're walking around.
Simulator's been around for a few decades.
Sure, but I mean, this is the one I think this, maybe it was just riding the wave, right? But there was this, and then what? There was, I'm struggling right now. The game from the Ethan Carter, the Vanishing Ethan Carter. And then what's the other one I'm thinking from the Chinese room, the PlayStation one, Long Gestating Forever. Nope, that's not
No,
it.
that's
Thank you.
from
You're
Giant
trying.
Sparrow.
I appreciate
The Majestic
it. Not
Swan.
Edith Finch, no. Edith Finch.
Are you thinking
isn't the
Everyone's Gone to the Rapture?
That's the one exactly I'm thinking about, right? But Gone Home preceded that one for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. The Ethan one, I don't remember where it came out in terms of Gone Home or whatever. But it definitely, I think, is one of the
Consoles
ones
you're talking about. That's what it is.
No, because it got there late to consoles even. This Gone Home was a game I played on PC. Like I sat at my coffee table with my mouse and keyboard and my hat hooked up to my giant
you
TV and
did.
played. Like that was, it's been out a while. You know what I mean? And in terms of if those games are there, I think Gone Home gets talked about more than any of them. So that's what I'm saying in terms of putting it on the map. Maybe it definitely put Fulbright on the map, it being their first game, obviously, from the folks who broke away, Steve and all that, BioShock 2's DLC.
Okay, well, I apologize for derailing from your Tacoma
You're not at all.
review.
This is part of the show. It's conversational. What a burger sucks. That derailed. No. So Tacoma comes out. I'm looking forward to it. I think the thread for all three of us on the Games Daily leading into it, of course, is that people would write in about it and be like, why isn't there more hype to this game? Why aren't more people talking about this game? And what I kept saying was, well, I think it's you can't compare it to Gone Home because nobody knew who the fuck Fulbright was or what Gone Home was when it launched. Gone Home launches, and the story's so cool. There's quick twists and turns. You don't know what's happening or what kind of game you're playing, depending on when you play it and how much you know. That it's a game people talk about and talk about and talk about and talk about. Tacoma is their sophomore game to that. It's a game that's revealed on the Xbox E3 stage. It's a game that got announced, 2 years ago now? Maybe even more, I want to say.
Was it 3? Because I feel like it was the first E3 we did with GameSpot.
Okay. I remember it got announced a while ago, and it's been gestating. And even since then, when they did announce Tacoma, there was also a drift. There was all these other hey, I'm first. It must have been.
It must have been then because think about how many times we've had Steve Gaynor on the shows.
I agree, and that's
even at the old studio. Right. So,
and the problem, of course, with a Fulbright game, now that there's been 2 of them, or a walking sim game, or whatever you want to say, is that they don't demo super interestingly, and you don't want to show too much because you're afraid of giving away the story and ruining it for people. And so I haven't been concerned that there hasn't been more hype leading into Tacoma because of the fact we obviously know Steve. He's a personal friend. We like Fulbright. I loved Gone Home. I'm sold. Get it out there and let's see what happens. When I finished Tacoma, my immediate thought was, all right, that was fun. That was good. I don't think I came in with the expectation that it's going to be another Gone Home. I'm going to be rocked by the end of it. I'm going to be nonstop talking about it, blah, blah, blah. I think I might have thought there'd be more to it for me, and because of that, I don't think it's going to have the resonance Gone Home did. Now, granted, that's lightning in a bottle. How could you chase that? But I just mean people talking about this game in general. It's already one of those things where I see a lot of people tweeting, our critic friends, who, as they reviewed it, it's reviewing really, really well, right? My girl, KP over at GameSpot, she gave it a flat 7. And the next morning I saw that this after I had beaten the game. Jen and I were making breakfast. She saw me open up. She's like, ooh. She's like, ooh. And I'm like, honestly, I think I'd be in that ballpark range too if I played it. It's a good game. It's a good story. It's just not super. And compelling is not the right word. As I was telling you, there's no stakes in this, and it's hard because I don't want to spoil things. So what I'm going to tell you is stuff that you would know immediately upon starting the game, right? Like the idea is that you come in to retrieve the AI files and download exactly what happened on this space station, Tacoma. You get there, and your rundown shows you that, okay, the crew's been evacuated. You're like, okay, so I'm here now to piece together the story of what's happened here. And so as you go through it, you meet the crew and you follow around their AR recordings or these colorful body outlines or whatever, and you can follow them through and rewind the settings and follow different people and hear their whole conversations and stuff. And it's a fascinating mechanic. And, I was talking about it, I think, with you on Games Daily. The highest compliment I can pay the writing and the storytelling is that at one point, Jen, left or was looking at her phone and came back. She's like, so what's happening? And I paused it and I was able to recap everything that happened and give everybody names. It wasn't like, oh, well, the science guy said, it was like, no. Sarah said this. Sarah's talking to Odin right now. And that's interesting because, and over here, Bert and her are doing blah, blah, blah. And it was like, oh, shit. I actually know these people and I'm actually invested because it's, Gone Home where I'm listening to their conversations, but then every so often they bring up their iPad display, for lack of a better term. It's like an, AR iPad. And you can go in and read their emails and read these different things that are, that can be accessed at that one moment of time that Odin recorded. And Odin's the AI. And so they craft all these relationships and these really cool things. And it's like, this is great. But the entire time there's no stake in the, okay, they got evacuated. Okay, this isn't I'm not in Gone Home, at least, when I played it, and I'm going to spoil Gone Home now because you should have played Gone Home by now. But when I started Gone Home, I knew nothing. So I started that game thinking it was a horror game. And then as it slowly moved on, and I was like, oh man, this is a love story. Oh shit, is this the game? And I was like, I was still trying to figure out if it wasn't a horror game, but it wasn't. But even get aside from when I gave up that there's not gonna be a poltergeist or something weird that's gonna jump out and attack me like that, it suddenly became, fuck, what is going on in the attic? What is she, did she kill herself? Is Sam okay? What's going on? Blah, blah, blah. And that just wasn't the case here. There's a few times they hint around with, oh, this thing could happen if this happens. And again, I don't want to spoil stuff later in the line, but nothing ever comes of it. And it's just okay, no, all right, these people, they all got evacuated. So I'm just walking through here, doing all this stuff, reading all this information. Yeah, these people seem bad. That seems interesting. What are Odin's motivations? This is weird, but it was never edge of my seat. I can't put this down. What's going to happen? It was just a short story I read and was done with, which isn't bad. I'm not trying to take away anything from that. But in terms of like, do I recommend you to go get this? Am I getting a million tweets right now from people being like, holy shit, I just played this, that, and the other. What did you think? No, it's just like, this was a self-contained, there it is, boom, and it's done. And it's like, that's fine. That's good. I mean, it for me as a fan of Fulbright, as a fan of Gone Home, it's fascinating to see how much more complex this is, have, hands and stuff, which sounds goofy, but like, how different and how far they've come as a developer. But in terms of a story, I'm like, okay, that was fun. It's done. And I think when we're done with this review and I'd probably talk about it at PAX or something like that, I'll probably never really think about it again.
So I was just about to ask, like, do you think that maybe the story is something that over time you'll think back on and appreciate it more?
No.
Because like for me, like Firewatch is an example of that, where I played it and I thought it was good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it a lot, but I feel like I enjoyed the story more thinking back on it like a year later, right?
Yeah. No. I mean, I just don't. I mean, and it's hard. This is where it starts to bump up against spoilers, right? Because I think it's, in a way, not even similar to Gone Home, but there's the story I thought I was playing through, like, oh, it's all about the people. And then there's like a bigger layer on top of that isn't not about the people, and it isn't a left turn to Albuquerque you don't expect. It's just like, oh no, this is really who the enemy was here. And you're like, oh, okay, well, that's fine. I didn't, whatever. And I just moved on with my time.
So in walking simulators, generally the environments or the worlds are pretty unique or interesting because there's no gameplay mechanics to fall back on. Did you find that this world of Tacoma, this space station, was particularly fascinating in any particular way?
It's fascinating in the same way I think Gone Home was, or somebody who enjoys the Fulbright game. And that sounds so weird since there's only been one of them. But if you follow Steve and you follow, I'm blanking on her name. She made Cybele. She was on the show.
Yeah.
I can picture her. Nina Freeman.
Yes.
If you follow them and stuff, it's the fun thing of like, oh, you pick up like, they have like juice packs up there because they're in space or whatever, right? And like, oh, it's wine, and you pick it up and it's like from Cybele Winery. It's like, oh, cool. It's that, reference to that. And there's like little references like that. And it is the thing of like, okay, cool. Like I pick up this thing and I'm looking through, and it was one of those of like, what? It sounds like a knock, and Gone Home was, and I'm sure it is as simple as this is, but for some reason it stands out more here in the fact that the environments aren't huge and expansive. The way it works, right, is that you come in through the main door, I guess, of what you want to call it, the hatch of the space station you come on, and then, it's everything's spinning around. So you like go to biomedical or whatever, so you go down the chute and you ride a little elevator all the way down. And so you do that and you ride down to these different areas and take out your PDA and you plug it in and it starts downloading the information, and then you go and explore the rest of the thing. You're in smaller areas, so like even though Gone Home, it was just a house, it still felt like I could be in the basement and find something and be, fuck, that's up in Sam's locker. I need to go do that shit. I need a code. Where would I find that? You walk around. There was more of like, where the fuck do I go? What do I do? Whereas in this, like, all the answers for the story are inside of where you are, and they're small. It's like, 2-3 rooms depending on it. And like, they're nooks and crannies and, well, I guess areas that then have rooms offshoot of them or whatever. But it's like, I walked in and I felt like such a badass at this one point. And like when I'm first starting, and I'm like, I pick up this, I've been following this woman, Eva. I went back to her thing, her room, picked up she had a locked door in her office. I went back to her room. I picked up, and this is when I'm just fuddling around, going around, picked up this, photo of her sister, and on the back was like the prayer card from her memorial service and had her date of death there. And I'm like, went back, did that, bing, bong, bing, got in. Yeah, you know what I mean? And then later on, it's like you find a Post-it note that's just like, by the way, the code of your room is this. I'm like, oh, well, fuck, it was right. You know what I mean? Or like something like that. And it happened a few other times like that where it's just like Post-it notes, like really, there's not a million Post-it notes. There's just one. So it's like not hand-holdy, but it's just like, oh, well, I never got stuck. This all kept moving, and that's fine. I wasn't playing it because I wanted it to be like a Tim Schafer adventure game, where I don't know what the fuck's going on. But I just never felt I was being super pulled through it. Even when we were clearly ramping up to the end, I was just like, so what's going to happen when I return the stuff back to my ship? And then something happens, but it's not like, whoa, what the fuck? And I mean, I don't know if that's on me for expecting something like that. I think I even said that on the shows with you guys leading into it of like, I bet they're not showing as much because it's going to be a different kind of game. And it really wasn't. It was just go through and what happened on the space station. You're piecing it together. You kind of already know. I knew the ending of this. It's like I jumped and read the last page of their story to then jump in and do this. And then I get an epilogue, which was fine and cool and interesting. But It was fine. It was good. I agree with like the 7-ish for what the game was, though.
I mean, I feel like this is an easy question, but do you think that it's going to be in your top 10 at the end of the year?
Oh God, no. And that's not an insult to anybody. And this is a weird thing to say, right? Because again, we know Steve, we know Fulbright. I liked the game, but anytime you talk about a game and you're critical of it, I feel like it comes off like you're not. But no, I don't think this game was anything special. Like, it was a cool story, it was a cool short story, and I'm done and I'm on my way. But like, I thought Edith Finch was way better in terms of like, wow, what's going on here? Where are these people and what's going on? And blah, blah, blah. Like, what's going on? I keep saying, but like, going through the rooms in different areas and figuring it out and piecing it all together. I was more compelled and interested by that, and that's the story I think about more, where I'm like, man, I should replay that. I'd love to see a little bit more, take a little bit more time with it, explore through it. Whereas Tacoma, I felt like, all right, this was fun, this was cool. Book's closed, and it's on my shelf.
Does this turn you off of playing it?
A little, to be quite honest. There's just so much to play right now. As we were discussing this week, because we talked about so many releases that are coming out both this week and next week and the week after, that, I mean, if I have to choose between going home tonight and playing Fortnite, Pyre, or Tacoma,
Yeah.
I'm probably not going to choose Tacoma.
Yeah.
And it's not just you that said this.
Sure.
The girls and I talked about it, on our show this week too. And, they both kind of said the same thing, that like, it was good. It wasn't excellent.
Yeah.
Like,
Who was it? Was it Britt Steimer?
Yeah, they both played it. And so I was just like, okay, well, that's cool. I downloaded it. Alexa started playing it, and I was going to start playing it so we could all, kind of have a spoiler cast of it next week and talk about all the plot points and things like that. So,
and see, that's what's interesting about it is, like, again, I did that for Gone Home, and we've obviously done spoiler casts for so many games. I mean, between all of us, but it's just like for this one, and this sounds weird, but the game spoils itself. Like, I'm sure there's things I missed and narratives, because I texted Steve after I was like, hey man, the game was good. What was this time? I never saw this kind of thing. What is it? And he's like, oh, you didn't look close enough. I'm like, all right. So like, there's like things I missed, but I'm also talking about a very super nerdy Greg thing that I'm looking for. Not like all the characters. I thought like I knew their motivations, I knew their relationships to one another, I knew who does what and blah blah. And it's like, okay, cool. Like the game, I didn't feel like left me going, what was Bert doing over there, and why was this happening? It's like, no, they're cool characters and they did cool stuff, but all right.
Okay.
Shout out to Amaris for being in the game.
What?
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Amaris did a bunch of do you remember Gone Home and how, like, because they use the same style here of taking real photos and then like painting over their faces and stuff.
Yeah.
And so like she did modeling for this character like Marcus of
What?
like J-pop posters, or not even J-pop. I'm just
That's awesome.
Like some kind of foreign Asian pop on the walls or whatever. So she's in a bunch of different crazy outfits and stuff. But like literally it was like one
Normal
of those things where
Amaris outfits.
I opened a door or whatever and Jen's like, that's Amaris, because she saw me staring at it. I'm like, I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. So another game you got to play this week was Life is Strange Before the Storm.
Before the Storm.
I also got
You
to play
also got
this
to play it,
game.
and
Yeah.
Joey also got to play it.
Joey Noel!
I'm gonna step away.
Joey!
Oh!
You guys go.
All right. Joey Noel, kind of funny community manager, joining the fray. Also wearing a leather jacket.
Yeah.
Oh, this is your Gamescast debut?
Yeah.
Congratulations. Welcome to the madness.
You gotta drink Tim's coffee now.
Oh, I won't get lipstick on it. I'll be nice.
Andrea, start off. What did you think? We played some of episode 1.
Yes.
What was your takeaway from Before the Storm playing as Chloe
So
Price?
there was a scene that I think you guys got to see at the event that you were at that I did not get to play when I was at San Diego Comic-Con,
Okay.
which is where I played because I hosted the panel there. It feels very much like Don't Nod's Life is Strange. From a visual perspective, it looks almost identical art style wise. The scene that we were in, and I kind of grilled the devs about this. I said it didn't feel like the choices that I made in the particular scene that we were in were impactful or had any outcome on the end of the scene.
Yeah.
And so I kind of was like, why did you guys choose this to show to people when clearly like the choices, I played the build twice and picked different choices each time, but always arrived at the same conclusion, which is, kind of a trouble spot for games of this nature. Telltale runs into this as well. And they were like, well, perhaps we should have given you some context, but we don't want to let you know why that decision is going to make a difference down the road, because that would, be giving away what's happening narratively. And I was like, okay, I'm going to let you get away with that one.
But I'll be back after this.
Yeah.
But
what is the
I've
scene
got
you
my
play?
eye on you. So you play as, so for people who aren't familiar, Life is Strange Before the Storm is the prequel to Life is Strange. You get to play as 16-year-old Chloe, and you get to see the dynamic between her and Rachel's relationship. Now, Rachel, a character in Life is Strange that you never really get to see or hear from. She's just this elusive mystery figure.
Sure.
And now we get to see her. We get to see her interacting with Chloe and, where their relationship goes. So the first scene is at a place called The Mill. It's like a rock concert.
All right, so it was the rock show you were at.
Yeah. And so she's going through interacting with various characters. You run into Frank, another character
Big ol'
from
Frank, the drug dealer.
Yeah, from Life is Strange, and so you
his
get to
dog.
choose. Yeah. So it's I thought it was interesting. I like how Chloe is just so hard. She's got such a hard edge because she's much closer to the event where her, father was killed in
Sure.
this game, and so her grief really comes through a lot more.
Yeah.
Some of the other people that I talked to that played this, including the girls, were a little disappointed in the voice acting because
That's what we
Ashley
talked
Bird,
about.
That's what we talked about. Yeah.
Yeah.
no longer Chloe because of the strike that's happening. So we've talked about this on Games Daily, where she is part of the production crew. She's helped write the show. She's been working with them, but because of what's happening with the union strike, she can't voice Chloe. And so
I hate being that guy, but that was what I mean, as soon as when Joey and I got out of the room, I was like, so what did you think? And we're like, oh, it's called Life is Strange, but it was like the voice just it was so weird.
And I like Chloe's didn't bring me out of the story as much as it did when you met
Frank?
the stepdad. Yeah.
Oh no, yeah.
Oh,
sorry,
David.
David.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's when I was like, oh, this is
David
very
had such a
different.
definitive voice in the original Life is
Yeah.
Strange. It was just being like the Marine, like wow, and like this guy did not have it. And it was like, that's such an unfair standard for me to apply, knowing what's going on and everything else with the SAG-AFTRA strike. But it was like, fuck, this doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the writing felt the same. Like everything felt good, but it was just a little bit off.
Yeah.
So it did, I think, what it was supposed to do of like, it made me want to go back and like replay and want more Life is Strange, but I don't know how it's going to end up.
Well, it's the same thing too
Settling
of like
next
coming
to
down
it.
the stairs and meeting your mom again, who works at what, Deborah, is that right? I forget. The one who works at the diner. Yeah, diner one, maybe June, whatever. But meeting her and she opens her mouth, and I'm like, you're not the voice actress either. And it's like, I get it and I understand it, and it's one of those. I'm sure when I play the game after episode 1, I'll be fine. I'll be on my way. But for that first, like, because it was for me like starting off being Chloe. You're in these cool scenarios. You go to the rock. It was like, fuck, I missed Life is Strange.
Yeah.
I forgot how cool and how much I really, really dug this game and now this franchise. But then it's getting into those points of just being like, I don't mean to be that guy, but it just doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
it's a tough place to be in, because what is, Deck 9 and Square supposed to do? Are they supposed to delay the production of that game until the strike is resolved? Or do they go forward and try to do the best that they can? And then if there is, obviously Life is Strange 2 is in the works.
Yeah, they've said that.
We don't know what characters are going to be returning in that game. So we don't know if those actors are going to come back and reprise the role, or if they're going to use some of these new actors. It's hard to say. I will say what I did like was the music. So the first game put a big emphasis on music throughout various scenes, and we saw that in this one as well. But the music has a much different tone because this isn't Max's story.
Yeah.
This is Chloe's story, so it's a little bit more punk, a little bit harder, edgier. But yeah, the voice acting thing is gonna be a thing.
Yeah.
I think I'd rather have different voice actors for the prequel and hope that they manage to resolve everything in time for the sequel. I think.
Do you think the sequel will have them? Do you think it'll be a continuation, or is it going to be brand? I mean, they haven't said anything.
I think it'll be a continuation.
Really?
Well,
That's going to piss people off.
know.
That means there'll be a
Because
definitive
exactly,
ending. And like,
yeah. I don't know. That will be interesting.
Right, exactly. I mean, it's clear which ending they wanted. I gave them shit about that after the fact. It's like, well, it's clear the one where that has like it goes on way longer, and there's like actual cutscenes for it. It's like, oh, well, it's just I'm like, get out of here.
Yeah.
You know what you're talking about.
There's only one right ending.
Right. Get in the truck, drive away together, be happy. Fuck the town. The town gave you nothing. Town gave you nothing. I'm stoked. I can't wait for it. It's been on my list, obviously. It was a pleasant surprise, especially after the whole lead into E3 of like, it's sold all these copies. We're not going to be at E3 with Life is Strange 2, but we're working on it. Okay, great. And then here it was before the storm. Great.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Sweet.
Thank you, Joey.
Thanks.
Bye, Joey.
Now, the other thing while Tim resets is that I also played Mario Cross Rabbids, I think, or since the last one, where we can
that's
talk about
right.
it. We
We
can talk
did.
before we couldn't talk about it.
Okay.
Because you and I also, or you played.
At E3.
No, that I'm just running down all the things we have in the queue.
Okay.
Yesterday, you played the Metroid game, Samus Returns.
Yes.
We can't talk about
We
that
can't
till
talk about
Tuesday.
it.
There's a Let's Play going up. You can do that. But Mario Cross Rabbids, holy shit, was that fun?
Yeah.
I mean, like when Big Kev Dog, get over. You played it. We're the co-op team, right? Get in here.
Yep.
What did you think of this one, co-op team?
So going in, not a game I expected to play. Looking at it, I was like, man, this game looks dumb. But then actually playing it, the mechanics of it were so much fun. The movements link together in such a way that like you feel really good about like doing a long attack. And it's just like coming out of it, I wanted to play more. So I was shocked. I do like puzzle games, and
Call him the GoPro.
I've never played strategy games like that before. I like it.
Yeah,
I like it a
it's
lot.
just a little bit more like faster paced than like the normal ones that you're used to. But what I like, what you're talking about linking things together, is you can kind of take your character and using your limited movement, like the spaces that you can go, like you can then say you want to go there, but if you go there, there's like a trampoline or whatever, which will bump you up to the next thing, and you can kind of combo it off where you can use your attacks to get you a little further if you hit somebody that gives you one more move, and so you can kind of keep your character like with the warp pipes as well.
Yeah,
like you're able to, from one side of the map, make it over to the middle of the map, attack somebody, get into a warp pipe that brings you to the end, attack someone else, and then take a warp pipe all the way back to where you started. And it's like, wow, that's super
very
satisfying.
fluid, and it is very satisfying. And they put us at a level initially that was totally fine. We could do it. Then they put us on a hard level, and man, it was so hard, but it made me want to I can't wait to actually get it.
Yeah, the thing about it, I like XCOM. I brought the GoPro with me, of course, because he's just good at thinking that way strategically. You know what I mean? And so I think when we originally saw it, it was like, oh man, following a Roomba around, that's stupid. And then when they got into like, wait,
Following a
it's
Roomba
Mario
around.
Cross Rabbids and it's XCOM, like that's awesome. But is it going to be baby's first XCOM or something like that? Even that normal level we went into where we beat it and we felt good and like powerful, it was still like, oh man, things were getting blown away. I got shot dead at one point. Like it was like, oh fuck, they're actually pushing. And these are the co-op levels, for the record. Not that I think there's a big difference, but just to give you some kind of idea of what we're doing.
I really enjoyed how they took these classic Mario characters and mashed them with the Rabbids, and so you had like the Rabbid version of like Donkey Kong and mixed with like the giant chomp plant on the map
Chad.
and things like that I thought were a really nice touch. And the sound effects are fantastic. The graphics look great. It's clear that this team has been working on it for a long time.
Yeah.
My two big things though, the negatives of it are, one, the Rabbids, don't like them at all. Still
See,
don't.
I don't like the Rabbids either, but
Why?
like
you don't like them either?
No, they're weird looking.
No, I love them.
I just don't like the idea of a human having sex with a rabbit, and that's clearly what a rabbit. That's what happened here to make rabbits.
Come on.
I mean, I'm into that.
Good
I'm
point.
into
Thank
that.
you. Whataburger sucks.
No, I mean, my thing is with the Rabbids as characters, like I loved the mini games, the original Rabbid games out on the Wii. And I was always just like, why is it Rayman and like these things? Like, why not use the Rayman cast of characters or whatever that we had in Rayman 1 and 2?
Yeah.
I don't really like Rayman 3. But then they made these Rabbids, and then they were essentially the minions before the minions happened. Like
True.
the plot of the first Despicable Me is the plot of Rabbids Go Home or whatever. It's like the exact same thing. I'm trying to get to the moon. I'm like, this is really weird. And they're very similar characters. And the fact that we haven't seen the minions in a game, that at least like a game that people care about in a long time. There's been the cartoons and all that stuff.
No, the mobile game was pretty successful.
Oh, okay, yeah. But what I'm saying is like we haven't seen
Console.
AAA is a weird way to put it, but like
We haven't seen like a platform, like a console or PC release,
exactly, where at E3 they're putting a lot of focus on the Rabbids in years, and now all of a sudden it comes back in a Mario crossover, so random. And I think the Rabbids aside, I just don't like when we have such a great cast of characters in the Mario universe when they default to making weird decisions like this, where, all right, it's the Rabbids, but it's a Mario, Peach, Luigi, and Yoshi, right?
Version
Rabbid.
of them.
And I'm like, it reminds me of New Super Mario Bros.
Luigi. It's Luigi,
Mario-
not Yoshi.
Mario, Luigi, Peach.
and
Is there a Yoshi?
there's one more.
I don't think
We
there's
didn't play
Yoshi
as a
one.
Yoshi in our thing, but now that you say this, I think I do vaguely.
There's 4.
Don't come at me, brother. All right.
I'm pretty
Just tell
sure
me
it's
what I saw.
Yoshi.
Okay.
It's not Robotnik. But no, it reminds me of New Super Mario Brothers, where the 4 playable characters were Mario, Luigi, Blue Toad, and Yellow Toad. And it's like, why not Daisy? Why not Wario? Why not any other of these characters that like people actually do care about and like that we see in all these other franchises? And so the thing with this, it's like I don't understand why the Rabbids need to be a part of it. And whatever, that's not just a me thing, but like really it does hamper my
You're right,
interest in the game. And also the Roomba stuff sucks. It is just as.
But I don't know how much of that is going to be the game.
I mean, in the demo that I played,
the exploration stuff was lacking for sure.
And it's just kind of like, let's get to the next area. And I'm almost like, I'd rather just have a world map that I hit next mission, go. It seems like a distraction. Maybe there's more, because I did just play the 20-minute E3 demo or whatever. But in that 20-minute E3 demo, as I was doing that, I'm like, why?
Yeah, the exploration didn't feel like exploration, so I thought it was a little disingenuous for them to say it's a combination, strategy and exploration game. It felt like it's just a strategy game.
But the strategy part is super fun,
Exactly.
super great, and who cares about the characters at that point? Like the gameplay is awesome, and yeah, it does look great, super cartoony. And
Wait, so did you just say who cares about the characters at that point?
Yeah.
in
just-
the gameplay?
Yeah, but you just made a big deal about the characters. Now you're saying who cares?
Exactly, but I'm talking about in terms of interest in the game, just based on the look of it and the box art and the whole premise. Like, I would much rather just be Mario and Sonic and friends, because I at least care about those characters.
But I
in
don't
a
want
way-
Sega making this game. All right?
But there's a lot of people out there that like the Rabbids.
There are a lot of
they're
people
wrong.
out there that don't like the Rabbids. I
don't
think
think-
that's the thing.
Well,
Put it on the poll.
Yeah. Maybe people can let us know if you think if your disdain or dislike of the Rabbids is keeping you away from this game. Let me know, because I don't think that that's as big of a group as you might think it is.
Here's my
think
thing.
it
Here's my thing is I don't think it's keeping them away as much as it's hampering their interest. Because when it first debuted, that was my thing.
Yeah.
Like I fucking hate these things, and then you play like, all right, fine. Like just don't be stupid in the game. Tighten it up. Tighten it up,
They're gonna
Rabbit.
be.
Tighten it up.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean,
Gameplay
but it
was fun,
does.
though.
It totally hampers my interest in it and playing it. I'm
You're
like,
gonna play it, you
I-
Nintendo fanboy.
But that's the thing is like it's the difference between me playing it and me being super into it and trying to push it.
Maybe this is the one that turns you around on Rabbids.
Maybe.
Again,
Again,
about that?
I was on Rabbids before. I loved the first Wii minigame collection. It was like one of the launch titles, and it was good. It was really good. It was better than any Mario Party that came out, and since then,
Shots
it's
fired.
real though. Mario Party on the Wii fucking sucked, and Mario Party on the Wii U was even worse.
Wasn't on
it's
the
like,
Wii U.
huh?
It was on the Wii U.
That's true. That is true.
Remember when they put all the Bowser kids in Mario Kart? They thought that was a good choice
That was
too.
a great choice. That is the point that I'm trying to make. That makes
Such a
people
stronger
happy.
cast of characters. These reskinned
It
turtles.
totally is.
Hey, how about some
They're
reskin
not
turtles,
reskinned.
everybody?
They all have
This
their
one's
own
named
unique
Lemmy, and the other
designs.
one's who the fuck cares? He got a bow in his hair.
Good lord. I'll be talking shit about Wendy. Wait, when did you play at the recent event, or did you
No,
play
I played
at
it at
E3?
E3.
Yeah. I mean, again, everyone that has played it has the same response, that they are very surprised by the quality of it. And
I wasn't surprised by the quality. I expect something quality from Nintendo. They rarely put out a game that's like
Flash
looks
UV.
janky or is broken, right? They put out good games.
Star Fox Zero.
I mean, they all can't be
Mario
winners,
Party.
Tim.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But the vast majority of what they publish
Absolutely.
is good, if not great, if not excellent.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the style of game, the type of gameplay was the surprising part, because they really haven't ventured into this genre a lot. They've done some things, but I'm looking forward to it. And I generally don't play strategy game or turn-based stuff anymore. I did a really long time ago, but it's not as interesting to me anymore. The gameplay doesn't move fast enough.
Right. And that's why I think it'll be a good Switch fit for when we're on the planes or whatever.
Yeah, and I've never played any XCOM, so this is the first game of that style that I've ever played. I think the closest thing that I've done is Advance Wars or Fire Emblem or something like that, and that's a very different type
Different
of
kind,
game.
yeah.
It's more of like a 2D version of.
And that's what was cool about
is.
this is, again, I didn't play the E3 demo and I didn't look too much into it because I knew it would eventually come across the way. But jumping in there and having it actually was that, hey, they have Overwatch, and hey, there's different classes, and Luigi's a sniper, and Mario, or the Mario Rabbit is a tank, and you can get it. And it was like, oh fuck, like there's a lot of strategy here, and picking my team and how I want to go out and actually carry out these maps. I thought that was
Wario
cool.
would have made a good tank.
He would have, yeah.
Yeah,
He would have, yeah.
definitely
But
would've.
you would have gotten instead all the fucking Koopa kids being stupid together, and you would have said, "Where's Dry Bones?" And you would have gotten Dry Bones at all.
That's just a Greg Miller thing. Andy,
Get over
over
here.
here.
Get in here. What are you playing? Whataburger's no good. The Spurs
You
win
can
the
sit down
championship.
if you want. You can still say so. Okay.
Did you bring another bottle of water?
I didn't. Would you please get me some water?
Just want a glass of water.
That'd be excellent. Yeah, I'll take some
I've been
ice.
playing some of that Splatoon.
Splatoon.
Really digging it, man. Really loving it. We got the copy early, so I was able to sort of dig into the story mode, the little campaign that they have. And I was talking with you about this yesterday, how I wasn't a huge fan of Splatoon 1 on the Wii U. I may have played it twice, very, very like quickly at some person's like house or something. You know what I mean? Like I had no affection for this franchise at all, but I knew, hey, I'm dying to play stuff on my Switch. Of course, I want to play Splatoon 2. Playing the campaign, I was immediately kind of bummed out that I wasn't going to like this game, because I think that there are some flashes of brilliance in there and some really cool mechanics that they introduced to you. And the movement feels awesome at times. And it's like, fuck yeah, like I'm cruising around this place, shooting bad guys, collecting things, and flying all around the world on those little like zip line sort of things. But I felt really unimpressed by just like what they were trying to do with the bosses, and I felt really, really bored by a lot of the campaign. And so I was kind of bummed out. And then eventually they opened up the servers once the game went on sale. And I started playing multiplayer, and I fell in love with it. And I haven't done competitive yet, but I've been playing the regular battles, which is what's it called? Like air control, where you just paint the floor in the standard mode, right? And
Graffiti.
dude, I'm fucking digging it, man. I really, really like it, and I think it has a really good hook of whenever you get a new piece of armor, like your shirt or your shoes or the headpiece, goggles, whatever, cap, all those pieces of gear have their own unlockable chunks, what they call like ability chunks. And so it keeps that, it reminds me a lot of playing Destiny back in the day, where you want to grind this weapon to its full potential. And so you might get a cap that has like 3 ability chunks because you're at a certain level. And those are all random, and they're randomized. You don't know what the skills are until you max out the skill points on that piece of armor. Then it unlocks maybe I don't know, you save ink more, or you have a special power up that goes quicker, that loads quicker or whatever. And so that grind, I'm really into it, and getting new cool pieces of like clothing to wear and stuff like that, and then leveling those up. And then a new one pops up. It's like, oh, I want that one, and it's got 4 chunks now. Fuck, I can really, utilize this.
They got you in the trap.
Yeah. So then, and it really is that trap of like, well, I was really, really powerful with this 3-piece of with this I don't know, a hat that has like 3 ability chunks, and I fully leveled that out, but this new one has 4. If I want the 4 one, I'm losing all those skills that I just got on that hat, and now I'm going to try to unlock these 4. So that it has a really cool loop that I'm really into. The horde mode is fun. It's called Salmon Run, and essentially what it is, it's you and 3 other people are given. You have weapons that are given to you already. You can't choose what weapons you use. So it might assign you the roller. It might assign you the paintbrush that you fling around or whatever. And some have good range. Some have like really bad range, but they're good at close quarters damage and shit like that. And essentially what it is all these little, like, the salmons come out of the water and they're trying to attack your base. And you have to stop them. And some of the bigger salmon have, they drop their eggs. And when you kill them, you take the egg, take it back to the little receptacle. And there's also like 8 bosses that randomly appear as you're trying to do all this shit. And they all have really cool, interesting ways of killing them. Like, they're all really different. And yeah, so now I'm trying to like get into motion controls. Like, I'm getting deep in it. And apparently motion controls is the best way to play, but it's like,
Because the aiming, right?
well, people say that motion controls, essentially you snap onto targets and stuff.
I thought they said about ARMS too, that motion controls was the most accurate way to play.
Well, Nintendo might say that because they want you to use it, right? Like, but I feel like that
The people are saying
but
it
the
for
people
this.
are like saying, if you think you're pretty good right now with standard controls, if you start to use motion controls, your skill will just increase fucking exponentially. And I've been trying and I just cannot get it. Like, and I even watched a fucking like 22-minute tutorial last night
Damn, you are in it.
yeah, because I feel like I'm pretty decent right now using the sticks. I'm like, well, why limit my ability here, guys? Why not keep trying, right? And
gotta
so
impress Marina.
you have to keep working, man. Yeah, I'm in love with Marina. She's the really cute squid kid. But essentially, with the controls, you keep it parallel to the ground. And the guy in the video is like, well, you can still use the right stick to traverse the world. Like you dive in your ink and you're swimming around. You can still use the right stick to turn around. But once you target an enemy, that's when you want to use motion. I'm having a fucking blast, dude. Like I want to dive into competitive because apparently some of the modes there are really fun. Ranked battles is what they call them. But I did not expect to like this game, and I'm addicted.
That's
that and
awesome.
PUBG.
Yeah.
PUBG
Have
and
you been playing
Splatoon 2.
Splatoon at all?
No, I just got my copy this week, so I'm going to test it out. But I've heard good things.
I would say don't start off with motion from right off the bat. Like start off with standard playing.
Yeah.
And I think you'll be fine.
I played none of the multiplayer at all. I played a fair bit of the campaign over the last couple of flights I had. And I agree with you where it's like the moments it's good, it's really good.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it can get a little frustrating and samey and just repetitive over and over. There's a tutorial when you first start up the game, you have to use the motion controls. And I got so frustrated with it really quickly where I'm just like, I don't, especially because I was on a plane and I felt like my motion had to be a bit more exaggerated than I was comfortable with. But once I got through that and was able to use the normal handheld mode, just start walking around, getting into the levels, like once you get, because you're in this kind of like open worldy area, but then once you get into the campaign,
the hub worlds
that bring you to like traditional levels, I noticed something as I was playing. I think it was about 3 levels in where I'm like, it really reminds me of a mix of elements from Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, and Mario Galaxy, which is a great compliment. I love that it reminds me of the first level of Mario 64 where you're on Battlefield, where you're making your way up the mountain to face the boss at the top. And it's kind of just avoiding obstacles, but also trying to figure out how to deal with each enemy that's blocking your way, right? And I love that your weapon is also your ability to traverse, right? So planning ahead to shoot the dude, but then shooting ink on the other side so you can come out underneath him, turn around and shoot him. It's just like super satisfying. You're like, man, that was awesome. And pretty quickly the game goes from like super simple teaching of the stuff to the challenges are puzzles. And it reminded me of Sunshine having to use the water, like very much reminded me of Sunshine. And the things that I liked about that game. And then the jumping from planetoid to planetoid, obviously the galaxy. But then it was once we got to the boss fight that I'm like, oh, this just feels kind of uninspired. And there's so much potential because the enemies, just the run-of-the-mill enemies are so interesting and so cool. And I love that the ones that have the shield and you have to throw the bomb to distract them. And it's like, it's so simple, but it just feels so good because they designed the level layout and the enemy layout in such a way that the real thrill of the game is from figuring out the right way to traverse and attack and to make sure that you have your ink on you at all times. So I mean, I want to keep playing. I want to beat the campaign, and then I want to jump into the multiplayer and stuff. But I'm a little worried you're gonna be so much better than me at that.
Nah, man. I mean, you're Quid again. You're Squid again. You know.
You're right. You're right.
So thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Andy.
Oh my God.
Just so you're aware.
Yes. Oh, I'm quite aware.
Okay.
Also, to bring
aware.
you all up to speed, just so you know, there's a poll going on right now live.
What is the poll?
Outback's still winning. However, Olive Garden has tweeted that they respect Andrea's taste, that she has good taste.
Yes, they said, well, clearly Andrea has great taste.
This is important. This is important.
Yeah.
What else you guys been playing?
I've been playing a lot of Fortnite.
Oh, right.
So this game is in early access. We've talked about it a couple times on Games Daily, but I've now sunk probably 20 to 25 hours in.
Damn.
It's a really fascinating game that is uniquely addicting in a very particular way. And I can't quite put my finger on why I keep coming back to this game. I spend, somebody made the joke on Twitter that it's menus of the game based off of the comments I made about it on Games Daily. So at its core, it's a base building co-op tower defense horde mashup. So there's you're in a world that's covered in a storm, and the storm is bringing these husk monsters, and you have to fight back the storm and fight these monsters to kind of reclaim territory. And to do this, you have to use a storm shield. And so the storm shield, as it expands, will reveal more and more of the map. And then the more you push back the storm, the monsters will come in, and then you have to fight them off. And then it's kind of like this give and take as you expand your territory and push the monsters back. So throughout this, you go and you rescue survivors in various neighborhoods. They have industrial zones, suburban zones, and then like nature zones. And there's different types of ways to fight in each of these zones, and there's a couple different kinds of missions. So there's a Ride the Lightning mission where you have to protect this guy Lars and his van.
These are Metallica references.
He's got a weather balloon that he needs to go up into the storm to like get data or whatever, and so he needs time to launch, and the husks are coming to attack us, so you have to like protect his van while he's getting ready to launch. Then there's rescue survivors where you just go out and you rescue people, and then there's a fight the storm where you have to base build around this thing called the Atlas, which is helps keep the storm shield running. And that's the base building, and the tower defense is really kind of what speaks to me, because I love tower defense games. There's just not enough tower defense games, particularly on console. There's a lot of mobile tower defense games now, but I haven't gotten into a good tower defense game in a while. So
I was going to say, last great tower defense game, I mean, obviously Pixels Junk Monsters, but there has to be something since then, right? In terms of a great console.
Monsters is such a great one, too. I really loved the South Park Tower Defense. Let's Go. I don't know if you guys ever played that. Excellent. That was a 360 Xbox arcade game. Yeah, no, it's. I'm sure people will let us know what tower defense games are on console. Please do. I'm always looking. But you have a home base. Everybody has a home base. When you start up Fortnite, you have a base and you get to name it. And then that base forever lives and is persistent. So when you go back to your base, let's say the three of us are going to jump in a co-op game, and you're in my game, you come to my fort, you can see this amazing creation that I built over time.
Its name?
Redlandia.
I like that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And so when you come into my game, you can see the incredible fortress that I've built, and I can choose to give you building permissions or not. So I can have you come in and help me build my base, or if I'm worried that you're gonna like
you have a very specific vision. Nobody else needs to do stuff.
Yeah, I don't want you to help me. You can like limit those permissions, and then you do specific push back the storm shield missions at that base, and they allow public matchmaking, because in the beginning you can handle it by yourself or with one other friend. But let's say I want to play and no one is around to play with me, and I need people to help me fight these monsters. It'll let you do public matchmaking if you want to, which is kind of cool. I'm just now getting to the point where it's starting to get challenging, because you can run through the first really like 15 levels pretty easily without really running into too much resistance. And now I'm starting to see where all of the strategy within the different menu systems is starting to come into play. It's like almost like the RPG element of it. There's just so much going on with this game that I can see why it would be daunting, or maybe even off-putting to people who are like, wait, it's too much. I don't want to do it. There's too much going on. And the game is polished as far as the gameplay goes. The graphics look great. The shooting feels nice. There's a bunch of different weapons you can choose from. The crafting system feels like it's realized and balanced, but they clearly don't know where to edit. There's 4 different pages of the skill tree.
Wow.
4 pages. And I'm just getting to the end of the first page, and the thing that kind of frustrates me is that there's not unlocking the second page until I completely fill out the first page, and then that kind of defeats the purpose of a skill tree.
Yeah.
I'm like, why isn't it just like a level up system then?
Yeah.
I mean, why are you giving me this illusion that I'm choosing where I'm going when I have to unlock everything to get to the next thing?
Interesting.
So I don't know if that's going to change, because obviously it's early access. So
Yeah.
I don't know how they're going to take the feedback from the people who are playing and incorporate that for when it eventually comes out. Because we had the dev team in for a stream, and they said it's not going to come for a full release until 2018.
Wow.
Yeah, so this is, they got a ways to go, but they've been working on this game for several years at this point. And it definitely shows in how the game plays. I haven't had server issues. I haven't had bugs or glitches. I mean, it plays really well. There just is a lot of complicated overlapping systems that I'm not quite sure need to be as complicated. It kind of reminded me a little bit of quality of life things in vanilla Destiny, how there was like a lot going on and then at the same time not enough going on, and they refined it, and then by like year 2, at the end of year 2, it felt good. I'm hoping that they can like keep polishing the menu system and the back end and make it work so it's not so complicated, because you spend half of your time in menus and that's not fun.
No,
never.
no, not
Yeah.
a good one at
Don't
all.
like that at all.
When you had the development team in, they came through, they did the stream with you and What's Good Games. Did you talk to them, or did they? Have you ever had a conversation with even Nick or somebody on the record as far as like Epic's vision for what they are now? Are they moving? Because I mean, there's Paragon. These are two games that are, you know, like we've been talking about all day. Games as services,
Yeah.
things that are like ongoing.
You know, I haven't had a specific vision conversation. They have come out at a couple different points over the last year or two. They always have a big showing at GDC in particular, and saying, hey, we're publishing several games. I think they have like 6 or 7 total games that they're working on, that they're going to be publishing. And of course, they have everything with Unreal Engine on the other side as well. You know, it's a great question. I don't know if it's that they have a whole new team that's working specifically on development of these games versus people who are working on the tech of the engine.
Sure.
But maybe we could have them on the show and ask them.
Maybe we will, Nick Chester.
Well, there you go. Andrew and Greg, it is time for This Week in Gaming History.
This week in gaming history, lay it on me.
1 year ago,
Oh, that's not that far away.
on August 2nd, this is for you though.
Okay, thank you.
2016. Overcooked came out on PlayStation 4.
And now it's out on Switch and running great. Next question, don't worry about
Oh man, what's the
sucks.
deal with that? Why?
Frame rate problems.
it. Frame rate, it's just optimization stuff. I'm sure they'll
Yeah.
get to it, but it sucks that you
I mean, they
like,
said they're gonna patch like soon.
yeah.
So
Just-
it just sucks that it came out.
The game's so great.
Yeah.
Everybody loves that game. And if you were
Yeah.
holding off or hadn't done it and now you grab it and it's all fucked up, you're like, ugh.
Yeah.
What a
Man,
great
shout out to
platform for that
Overcooked.
game, too.
I know, right?
They'll
Break
get
the
it
controllers.
fixed.
Of course,
Yeah.
yeah.
11 years ago, on August 3rd, 2006, Star Fox Command came out on DS. I talked about this recently. Star Fox Command is the spiritual successor to Star Fox 2 that we never got to play, that is now coming out on the Super Nintendo Classic at the end of next month. I don't like it one bit. It might be my least favorite Star Fox game. And
Are you gonna give it a shot at this
That's
one,
not
though?
true. Star Fox Zero. You will always. That insulted me. But no, Star Fox Command.
Are you going to give the new Star Fox or the Star Fox 2 a chance on SNES?
Yeah,
see if it's
definitely.
different? Because
Yeah,
now they finished
absolutely.
it or whatever. right?
Yeah. I mean, it was the version I played was
All but done,
was
yeah.
all but done.
Okay.
But no, I mean, definitely. I'd love to pop in. I mean, I feel like if we were to do Let's Plays for the SNES Classic, you gotta
Of course.
give that a shot, just because it's interesting that a game that never came out is now being released. I would have bet $1 million. I would have bet my life
Don't do it. You would have lost it.
that Star Fox 2 would
So
never
hyperbolic.
would never be released. And
Fun story
it is-
about this one from 11 years ago. My first Star Fox game of all time.
Ooh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm sorry.
Didn't play much of it. Didn't play much
Star
of
Fox
it.
Command, not bad. People like it. It reviewed really well.
Yeah.
It's not a typical Star Fox
Yeah.
game. It was more of like a draw where you want to go.
Yeah,
and I mean, it's kind of what I thought XCOM was, but I guess
Oh, really?
it's not. Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, it's similar to even the Mario plus Rabbids in a way.
Moving around,
Of
just how many tiles you can go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's that. 12 years ago, on August 4th, 2005, Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness came out on the Nintendo GameCube. I imagine that neither of you played this.
No.
Hell no.
So the thing is, everyone always talks about there's never been a mainline Pokemon RPG on consoles. And there hasn't been a traditional Pokemon gym leaders, all that stuff. There was 2 Pokemon RPGs on GameCube. There was this one and Pokemon Coliseum. Both of them really good games. Totally, I don't know how that just went under people's radar because they looked at them
Because it was on the
as
GameCube,
spin-offs.
probably.
Are you talking shit about GameCube?
No, I'm saying the GameCube kind of came at a very interesting era in the console life cycle, and a lot of games on GameCube kind of went under the radar.
Oh man!
What up, beautiful Joe?
GameCube, which eventually came out on PS2.
Yeah.
Needed that extra bump. Shout out to beautiful Joe.
Right, though? Come on, man.
16 years ago, on August 1st, 2001, Golden Sun came out on the Game Boy Advance. The first real meaty RPG on the system. You guys play that one at all?
No.
Oh man,
I don't even know about it.
Golden Sun?
No.
Ah, great game. That's one that needs to come back. It came back on the DS, but I feel like it's time some
For a
Golden Sun.
mainline console, Golden Sun.
A Switch Golden Sun would be awesome.
You'd be all about that, yeah.
All about that.
Okay.
18
What about
years
Golden
ago-
Axe? What if we got Switch Golden Axe?
Golden Axe, no, I can do without that one.
Oh, you're fucking.
18 years ago on July 31st, 1999, Jammer Lammy came out on the PlayStation.
Okay.
Didn't like that one.
No?
No.
Not one, not your cup of tea?
I mean, Parappa was like definitely my cup of tea, just
Yeah.
based on the concept of it.
Yeah.
But
and this is the one-
it always felt off to me. Even Parappa felt off to me. I was a big rhythm fan game, big rap fan.
Yeah. This
My
should have been your
cartoony
jam.
stuff should have been my Jam or Lammy, and it wasn't because it always felt off. And even now that I've played the re-released one on PS4, the Parappa,
Yeah. Well,
Not for me.
that one was off, right? That was
the
the
one
big
that was
deal with
weird
the
lag and
Parappa.
stuff.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
eh. And then Jammer Lammy just kind of felt like the weird cousin, and it came out at such a weird time where the PS2 was almost there, and who would call a game Jammer Lammy?
It's not a great name.
No,
It's not a great name.
not at all. And then finally, 22 years ago, on August 5th, 1995, Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island came out on the Super Nintendo. My favorite game of all time.
Shout out to the Yosh.
You got to play through it, Greg.
Okay.
It won't take too long.
Sure.
And I want you to know what you're missing out on.
I'll bring it when it comes to the Switch. I'll play it.
Oh, God.
Yeah, exactly.
Virtual console?
Yeah,
That might be a
exactly.
while. That might
I can
be a
wait.
while.
Trust me, I'll wait.
Good. Now it's time for some Q&A. You can go to kindoffunny.com/gamescast, just like all these beautiful people did, to ask us some questions. Jeremy asks, if Andrea could recommend a topic for Danny O'Dwyer and No Clip Video to cover,
Oh,
what
Michelle.
story would she most want to hear?
I mean, the story that I would love to work with Danny on is the story of the Mass Effect trilogy. Now that they've kind of put it to bed as far as Commander Shepard's story, I think that they might be willing to open up about how that development process was, how they created these stories, and then hopefully, you know, talk to them about the changes and the differences between each of those three games, and talk about that ending of Mass Effect 3, talk about the choices and the characters, and where did loyalty missions come from. There's like a million things I could think of for that Danny would be excellent at doing with the Mass Effect series. That's particularly interesting to me as a Mass Effect fan.
Did you lose your mind when Fem Shep was like you? When they were like, the official Fem Shep is Andrea Renee.
No, what's crazy is that the FemShep that I had created looked so close
Mine too.
to that cover, so close that I was really pumped. Her face was a little weird for my personal taste. Obviously, everyone's Shepard is so personal to them that when I saw it, I was like, nah, that's not my Shepard. And I was always okay with male
Not my
Shepard being
Shepard.
the way that he looked because I always played FemShep. But yeah, it was great. And Jennifer Hale,
Oh, wow.
so good.
So good. So good.
Yeah.
What about you, Greg?
What about me?
For Danny O'Dwyer, what would you
Kojima.
want, and would you want to work with him on it?
No.
You just want him to
That's
do
a lot
it?
of translation. No, I mean, yeah, if Danny needed a partner for that, I would love to. But I mean, we're still so far removed from ever having the real story from, I don't even, Kojima ever talk about what exactly happened with Konami and having to figure all that. That's what I'd want to know. I'd want it specifically about that breakup. And if you couldn't do that, then yeah, just Kojima in general. Because that 2-hour interview I did with him at RTX Sydney, which is up on our youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, like even that, like, it's 2 hours. We're moving through it so quickly. And the way he's just like, well, I wanted to make movies, but I didn't. So I went to a video game developer and I'm like, how did you just do that? You don't just walk up and knock on the door and get in to write games and stuff, but that's kind of what he did. And I'd love to know more about that. And yeah, we were talking about it, like all the different ideas. Like, when did he realize Metal Gear was going to be what Metal Gear was? You know what I mean? In terms of he makes the games and then tries to move on to other stuff, but keeps coming back. And then once he's back for good and going on in that whole legacy. But I'd really want to know, like everybody else, what the fuck happened over there. Exactly.
The one thing I want to do, and me and Danny actually talked about doing this a long time ago, back when he was at GameSpot with the Point. He did an episode about Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, and we were talking for a while about making that like a bigger thing and like making it more of a documentary. And then it just ended up not happening. And then there's this other group that tried making a Tony Hawk's Pro Skater
And they disappeared.
documentary, and they did a Indiegogo, I think it was. And I was pushing on the morning show. It didn't hit its goal. So I don't know where the status of that is. I don't know if they're still going to do a version of it or not.
Yeah.
But I would love to do like a real retrospective look back at the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater franchise and really kind of what it meant for like the culture of a whole generation of people that kind of define themselves based on playing those games and the soundtracks and all of that stuff. I'd love to try to figure out ways to like even reach out to the bands that
Hell yeah.
made the songs because they're so iconic, right?
Yeah.
So that'd be cool.
And Crazy Taxi.
Yeah.
Give me a Crazy
Give me
Taxi.
the story of Crazy Taxi.
Yeah.
What's up with that Pizza Hut?
Take me to Pizza Hut.
Gentis says, what game do you prefer more, Andrea? Donkey Kong Country or Super Mario World?
Super Mario World.
The right answer.
You like Donkey Kong Country at all?
Of course. Donkey Kong Country was great. But it's not
ain't
Super
Mario
Mario World. I mean,
Hey, it's rare that this works out. But yeah, Donkey Kong Country is fantastic. I still stand by Donkey Kong Country 2 is my favorite of the trilogy, and I need to play through both again to decide whether I like Tropical Freeze or Donkey Kong Country 2 better. Nostalgia taken out of the thought
Equation,
process. But neither can stand up with Mario World. Are you kidding me?
yeah.
Don't be crazy. My dude Blessing says
Blessing
thoughts on
Jr.
early access? Yes, Blessing Jr.
Thank you.
I've always felt apprehensive about the model, but PUBG and Fortnite have seemed to found success with it.
I have no problem with early access. I think it's a interesting way. It is that thing of like, oh, I know I'm buying an incomplete game and I'm giving them money, so will they ever make the changes that need to happen? But I think PUBG and Fortnite are good examples of like, there's already a game there that you can get in and have a lot of fun with. And even Minecraft really, which was like, in beta forever, similar story that you can get in and do stuff with. I like that it's there. I like that it's an option. I like that it's not a closed beta or some weird hoop you have to jump through to do it. This is much more on, upfront, black and white. It is a business transaction. Do you want to come in and do this and work with us to fix a game and try stuff? Okay.
Yeah. I have no problem with it at all if it's very straightforward and honest
Transparent,
and
yeah.
transparent about here's where we're at and here's what you're buying. It's up to you to buy it or not. It's when there's weird shady stuff where they act like it's more done than it is, or there's promises made that aren't fulfilled. Or, things change and things happen. So even if promises were made and aren't fulfilled, have some type of conversation to let people know and communicate on why and when and how and answer all the question words, right?
Right. And I think not all early access games are created equal. Clearly, Fortnite is coming from Epic Games, who has a long pedigree of making games. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, didn't necessarily have that going in, so they had a lot more to prove up front than Fortnite did. And they both are doing excellently. Obviously, PUBG's been out for quite a bit longer, and they have sold, as we talk about on the Games Daily, they keep outdoing their own records.
It's been 30 minutes, another million have been sold, I'm sure.
But yeah, I think what it comes down to is what we've said is as long as they're transparent and you know what you're getting, you know that you're buying isn't a completed game, and that things are going to be broken, the servers are going to be down, the graphics may not work. And if you're cool with that and you're still willing to pay for it, cool. That's why it's optional. It's all about choice. You don't have to buy it.
Yeah. Next question comes from Alex Shoot. Andrea, have you found that attitudes towards women in the games industry has improved in recent years compared to years past?
Yes, there's definitely been an improvement certainly since I first started working in this business. And that's great. I think that's because we've been having a lot of dialogue, and the more conversations we have, the more voices that we hear from, the more perspectives, I think only moves the conversation forward. Whenever there's censorship or people try to shut down opinions or shut down viewpoints is when, the conversation moves backwards. I think it's just more voices, even if they're not positive ones. As long as there's, a dialogue happening, we don't always have to agree. The dialogue is the important part. Now, what's frustrating from my perspective is that a lot of times in specific platforms, there isn't a dialogue. There's just a lot of yelling things. And then when I come in and try to actually have a conversation about it, it's just like more yelling. And I'm like, cool. So you don't actually want to talk about it. You just want to yell because you're yelling into the internet because it makes you feel good about yourself or whatever. But yeah, it's better. It's definitely better. Could it be better? Yes, it could be much better.
Do you think it will be better? Do you think we're on a trajectory where it's just going to continue to be better?
I think yes. I think it's going to be slow. And this is something I talk about with other women who work in this business. It's not limited to video games. A lot of times people want to make it seem like it's a video game problem, the harassment that's happening to women in this industry. This is a worldwide life problem. The way that women are treated overall, whether it be in the workplace, whether it be like at a bar, on the street, wherever, it's just a world problem that, women still today are not considered equals in a lot of places around the world. In legislation, in, social situations, you have it. Like, we've made a lot of progress, as a gender over the last 50 years in particular, but we still have a long way to go,
Hell yeah.
Now, counterpoint. No, I'm kidding.
Lucid Dream says, you guys ever play any MMOs? I don't
haven't in a long
think that
time.
I have. Ever.
I mean, for me, it was DC Universe Online, right? Which I put 700 hours into or whatever, and that's like nothing in terms of an MMO. Where it's like I played a lot of it, sure, but that's not.
Yeah.
I mean, there's still the people I used to run raids with are still out there running raids in that game and being and like it's insane, like the amount of time those games take. And but because it's that same thing right now, where it's like, man, I feel like I've played a lot of Friday the 13th, right? But even though I'm like level 30 or whatever, maybe level 31 now. And some kid tweeted me yesterday, or maybe I saw it on the Reddit or something about like, oh, it was a question to Kind of Funny Games Daily. They're like, hey. And it made it to the sheet, but I didn't read it. Like, hey, have you found a Pamela tape? Have you seen these? And like when you like,
Oh, yeah,
one of
there's
the
like
collectibles are Pamela tapes, like his mom's tapes or whatever. And I hadn't thought about these in forever because I'd seen them originally. Why would that give you a head nod? His mom's like a sex tape. Gotcha. Okay, sorry. When he does that weird Tim nod, I know he's up to something. I didn't think I said anything dirty. Now I'm caught up. And I was like, oh right, I remember seeing those every so often when you jump into a thing. I haven't seen or thought about them in forever. And the guy's like, yeah, I'm level 70. I've played, and he said hours, and he's like, and they have like a 0.01% chance of spawning in a drawer. I'm like, I thought these were hidden in the woods somewhere. I didn't realize that the hundreds of drawers I've opened, I've never seen a tape nor expected to. And this motherfucker's at 70. I mean, he's played probably more than double what I've played, and it's just like,
Oh my
Jesus
God.
That
Christ.
seems like maybe a drop number they need to increase.
A little bit, right?
should
One of the
probably
many
patch
things.
that.
Along with their trophies. Patch all your
Good
trophies.
Lord. I think Phantasy Star Online was the only one that I even really gave a shot. And it was just too much for me, and I
Yeah.
couldn't keep up with it. And I didn't have a group of friends that was into it. And I think that is the key for any game like this.
Right. Well, that's going back to why I'm excited for Destiny 2 in a month, right? Is like Andy's into it, you're into it. We're going to have people that actually run stuff, do stuff. And I know there'll be that core group I play with if we actually all get on board and play with it, which I think we will.
Yeah, Destiny was the closest I ever got to an MMO, and that is a shared world shooter. And MMO fans out there are like, that's not an MMO. And I'm like, you're right. It's not. It's
But it's
different.
close.
It's close. it has some elements to it. But yeah, I always have had more than one job. So I've never really had time to commit to an MMO.
One game. Yeah. Did
Yeah.
you guys ever play World of Warcraft at all?
No.
Nope, never.
Yeah, me neither.
I mean, I think do you mean have I ever like kicked the tires and like done anything in it? Yeah, I guess I've done that. Yeah, but I mean like that's 2 hours. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Where I was just like, totally respect why you like this game, not for me. Sorry.
Chris says, Andrea, are you a run and gun type of gal, or do you stay back and see it all?
Depends what kind of game it is. If it's a single player game, I'm more likely to run and gun. If it's multiplayer, not necessarily, because my PvP skills still need some work. Sometimes I'll be playing in Crucible and Destiny for a few hours and I'll get in a groove and then I can, really go get in people's faces. But if we're playing like a co-op game or if there's some kind of shooting, I generally like to be ranged. I don't like melee characters traditionally. So, yeah. I
What
don't
are
know.
you, Greg?
Depends on the situation.
I'm usually always ranged, hang back. I'll use a bow and arrow in a lot of games if it's that kind of thing. Like that's the same thing with Destiny. When I would play, I would hang back, and I was never the tank character or whatever. I want to be in the background. I don't like getting up there and like taking the damage. It's just it's something that doesn't work. It's what I played in DC Universe as well. Like range combat, I want to stay back. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so bad at shooting that I'm just like, I just love just hanging back and just, sneaking around a bit more. That's why PUBG is my jam. I just love sneaking around. It is so much fun. And I end up like in high rankings almost all the time because I am just sneaking around, but it reaches a point where I'm like, but now I need to shoot someone.
Yeah, I know.
And now I'm going to die.
That's as a fellow camper, that's the problem. I can camp to the end or whatever, but then when you get there and you are up against an Alfredo, it's like, well, fuck, I got nothing.
Oh, man. I love it so much, though. JC Jacobson. Since Andrea's one of the brightest, I want to know what she thinks of the
thanks.
BioWare, Montreal, and EA Motive merger. Are you concerned? What do you think's up with their future?
Not concerned. I think this is good for both of those studios. As we discussed earlier this week, both of those studios are, Motive hasn't shipped their game yet, but it's going to be shipping very soon. And, BioWare Montreal, got Andromeda out earlier this year. So that means that they probably could form one giant super team and work on something really excellent instead of, them maybe working on 2 smaller projects. They can maybe work on a really cool big project. And I think that's good for them. I don't know the intricacies of both of those teams to know like what their specialties are. Like if they have people that are stronger in design or stronger in art or narrative or what their, what their roles are. But it's better for them to team up and work together than I think fall apart separately.
Awesome. Mikey wants to know, how excited are you for the new changes in Paragon?
Oh man, we talked a little bit about this morning. So,
And it is sad what she's about to say.
Ooh.
it's not sad.
It is sad. As the only Paragon fan I know, it is sad.
Oh no.
The changes are really dramatic to the meta in a way that's frustrating for somebody who's put several hundred hours into that game. I'm a legacy player. I've been playing since the first day it went into early access all the way up to today. And it's challenging because when they made the move from legacy to monolith, the last major update, it was a dramatic change, and you really had to. Heroes worked completely differently. You had to change the way that you laned. You really had to pick roles a little bit more specifically. Whereas in Legacy, you could really kind of change things on the fly and be a little bit more flexible. They're really trying to get it to be more like other competitive MOBAs, which I understand why, especially with the international going on. Seeing that $23 million pot of prize money, I'm sure Epic is looking at that going, well, how do we get in on what's happening over there? So I understand why they're making these changes, because they want to bring more people into the fold, more MOBA players who are looking for a more traditional experience. So the card system is a deck building system which affects the way that your heroes play in the game. They're completely throwing away the old card system and have replaced it with a new system. So you have to relearn all the cards. There's a new gem system that works with the cards. So you have to purchase these gems, and then there's different levels between the gems, and then how leveled up the gems are affects the power of each of the cards. And you have to now manage gold in the game, which you didn't have to before. And the gold is different than the Paragon coins in the game, which is different than reputation. So now you have a bunch of different overlapping economies inside the game that weren't there before. The gold in particular is something that is clearly they're bringing that in because of games like League and Dota. And I get why they're doing that, but I don't think it was necessary. Mostly I'm just like kind of frustrated that I have to go back and relearn all of this again when I've spent so much time in this game, and I'm kind of like fuck you a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to be on their side, but I'm kind of angry. I'm kind of mad about it. But I still really like this game. It's really fun. So I'm going to learn it against my will.
Tune into Thursday's Kind of Funny Games Daily. I can't wait to see what she thinks of all this.
So it goes live on August 8th. I was in a closed alpha of the changes, and it was like I told Greg, it's tough to judge how it's going to be in PvP because it was such a small group and most of the players were pro level players, and so it wasn't representative of the general Paragon base. And so I need more time with it. I need to look at it and really understand it before I can give it a fair assessment. But I'm kind of sad that I have to like rebuild all of my decks from scratch. That's kind of heartbreaking to me a little bit.
Ugh, I'm so sorry for you. And final question of the day comes from Joe Dossie. Tim, how excited are you about Crash's sales? I am over the moon. I cannot believe it that just constantly NeoGAF is just every day some new story about Crash doing well here and Crash doing well across the world over there. Crash. I remember before Crash was announced, before the remake was announced, there'd be NeoGAF threads about like, I hope they announce a Crash remake or a Crash sequel. And there's so many people like, Crash isn't relevant. No one cares about Crash. God, it feels good to see this. I am so happy about this. I'm so happy to
vindicated.
I think you guys talked about it today. I'm not sure, but the Activision president talking about his reaction.
Not this.
There was the Activision financial call, and that was totally based off just the 2 days that it had in June to count for whatever quarter it was, and it did super well enough that he was like, "Oh no, we expected it to perform well. It is performing way, way, way above what we thought. That we will be doing more revivals. We will be doing more things. They may not all be remasters, but we're definitely looking at the properties that we have and
Interesting.
how we can
You're getting your Spyro
bring
game.
them on a PlayStation 4. So are we getting Crash Team Racing? Are we getting Spyro? Are we getting another Crash? I think the answer is yes to all of those. Let's get hyped. I'm so excited about this.
Would you want Spyro if it was a polished up port, not a true remaster?
I'll take it any way I can, really, if I'm being completely honest with you. Yeah, I'm just happy. This is so good. This is exactly what I wanted to happen, and it seems to be good for everybody. Sonic Mania, you just got to sell well too. And then Tim Dreams, that are all coming true. We're getting a good Sonic game, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us this week for the Kind of Funny Gamescast. I love you so much. Get hyped.
Man, the kick up, that's weird.
Yeah, I didn't mean to, but then it got
It
stuck
worked.
there.
It's perfect.
Hey, what's up? I hope you enjoyed that Gamescast. If you did, click here to subscribe to Kind of Funny Games. You can click here to subscribe to Kind of Funny. You can click here to subscribe to us on Patreon. That's where I want you to click. Right fucking here. Please and thank you.